Why dough? Somebody just go live and I cut them off? Hey, Nubby, thank you very much. Oh, John Marcus. Thank you very much, John Marcus. I actually have a song picked out here that I promised someone I would sing, so I'm happy to see those bits come in. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Do. Hey, and Sir Frank. Let's see. So, again, some people thought, hey, thank you very much, Catherine Rose. Isn't rain annoying in the game? Wouldn't it be cool if players could do something like... that. And that. One of the many topics I will have today. Well, if rain is cool, then you can always set it. How about this one? Let's see, I forget what this one is even. Oh, waiting to see if that fog gets any closer. Does look kind of weird with the sky still be... Oh, there we go. Now the sky's fixing itself. Ooh, spooky. Aloha, Lancel. And again, thank you very much, John Marcus. And thank you as always, Catherine Rose. Let's see. So I got a few things to talk about today, but really I didn't do a stream Monday. I was feeling a little under the weather. Still a little congested. But I think that was more from... I basically spent all day talking for 4 days straight, not getting enough sleep, and then Sunday I got up and the weather looked perfect, and Maxine wanted to go to ACL Fest, so I went and tickets were still available, so I went and got a ticket spur of the moment and took Maxine to ACL Fest on Sunday for one last day, which probably was the pushing me over the edge of getting sick part. But anyways, lots of dust. Beautiful weather, but pretty dry and dusty, so I think I just got too much dust in my lungs. And I've received a message. Oh, and the wife is telling me to be sure to listen. There's supposed to be a package arriving that I have to sign for, so expect this to be my usual professional stream, and I will probably get up somewhere in the middle of it and run off camera to get a package. And again, thank you to Lancermain and Babonzai28. And Babonzai, good to have put a face with the name. It was Buckaroo Bonsai, got to meet him at SodaCon. And Legion of Myth, thank you very much for the raid. Ugh, super congested. Hold on, professional streamer here. I'm gonna go get a tissue so I can blow my nose. All right. Hear me blow my nose? Yeah. Sin, thanks. All right. Oh yeah, I need to get my question, so the bot should be going. Let me get the important stuff going first here. Which is, Shogun wall set. I'll give one of those away today for sure. Let's see. Greenhouse. Let's start with a round elven greenhouse. These are things that, again, it's one of the great things of talking to you guys. Is, like you point out stuff we never see, never would have thought of, haven't really noticed. One of which was I had a player talking to me about greenhouses, and the greenhouses we say, hey, thank you very much, Skeggy. But the greenhouses, and NBNN News, thank you very much. And Waldo Topolemy, Waldo. But they, somebody was wanting to do the greenhouse, buy greenhouses, try and find a way to give us money. That's one of the things they wanted to buy. They bought them, and then everybody laughed at them because only a stupid person would buy a greenhouse because they're less efficient than the greenhouses you craft because they're just the wrong size. But this one is mostly for looks. Hold on. But anyway, so this will be the first one I give out. I will definitely give out some of those walls before this is all over too. Hold on, let's see. Elven greenhouse. Okay, now it's open. Now you can spam away. And yes, I do have the question thing going. That is the proper way to ask a question. I'll try to get to as many of those as I can today. I'm sure you have plenty of questions. Unfortunately, there will probably be some questions I will just have to say, nope, can't answer. But we'll see. Oh, and I didn't clear my question log from last time, so I don't know where one set ends and one begins. Let's see. I'm not sure where the questions begin, but I will go ahead and start. Oh, and thank you very much, One Bloodman01. I wonder if that was a question. Let me see. Show love, chaos love. Okay. Yes. Let's see. Torque Soda, thank you very much. And Waldo Plotomy, thank you very much again. So getting into some questions here. Again, feel free to add your own questions here, and I'll try to get to as many of these as I can today, because I know you have lots of them. And then at some point here, once a few more people show up, I'll talk some more about some changes that are upcoming. I guess one of the important things to note is I actually wrote up a State of the Union style post that I was planning on posting last Friday. When shortly after all the news broke and everybody had had time to sink in on people. But after seeing the feedback from players, that it was much better than I expected, honestly. I was expecting a little more negativity. But people within the community, I think, they know me well enough, and they know the game well enough, and they know how things work around here well enough that it didn't really surprise anybody. The only negativity really is in places outside the game from people who don't play the game, which I will not go read. So if I thought there was useful information there, then I would definitely go read it. But I've had some people quoting some stuff to me, so let's see. Scooby-Doo, I think this may be the last of the previous set, but why is one of the two teleporters heritage and one, or two of the two teleporters heritage and one not? That was actually a mistake that I think Travis fixed. So some people got a non-heritage version of it, but they're all heritage now. Bedouin, Question: what is the official stance now? Is Soda going to be a normal MMO, or is it going to be a single-player RPG in a MMO-ish world? What are your current plans for the offline game? So the plans for the offline game is we don't plan on ending support for the offline game. I mean, I can't promise that we'll have a single-player offline game through episode 5 or something. But for episode 2 right now, unless something horrible goes wrong and tech falls apart, or we just, it's going to break a ton of things, we don't plan on changing anything. We plan on leaving it a single-player offline game if you want to play that way, and you can play online if you want to. Again, I think there's even some of the online players like playing offline because they get to try out some crazy stuff, and they know they can, basically, the difference is the server track stuff in the online game and the single-player local game, it all gets tracked locally, so they know where the data files live and they can just go edit their characters or whatever they want to do. Artemis Sacrifice, please place some priority on non-magical healing methods like bandages. Having to require magic to heal is sad. It would be nice to complement potions with bandages. We've talked about that a dozen times. I'm not sure why we don't have bandages. At least at the very least, having bandages to stop bleeding and whatnot would be awesome. Let's see, Blood Omino. Chaos Love. Yes, Chaos Love. Chaos will definitely be getting some love. For those who don't know, I guess that's one thing I can go ahead and talk a little bit about. Is for episode 2. I think I'm trying to remember all the things I've mentioned to people at SodaCon that were on our plans that we hadn't mentioned before. But my target for episode 2, before we call it fully live, is that every skill tree will get about 2 new skills. Chaos is one of those that it needs more than that. It needs the full Chaos Demon skill, the way it was intentionally or originally designed. Now that our pets are actually getting up there, like tamed pets are getting crazy. In terms of power, I think we can actually make that happen. Hanneth Com, do you hear much from Richard these days? Yes. So this is one of those things I don't know. I mean, Richard has mentioned it in a number of interviews, but not really much is changing with Richard and how he interacts with us and things going on. Saw him in person last week. Texted him multiple times on some things this weekend and see him in chat on regular stuff. So another thing that Richard announced at SodaCon. Oh, and I gotta hold on. I gotta start a doc. I was gonna try to make some notes to make sure I didn't miss anything for other players, people who are not watching, basically. No, not a folder. Give me a Google Doc. I'm gonna try to have a doc up here so I can actually keep up with some of these key points. Let's see. 2 new skills per tree is Ep2 target. Single or offline play not going away. Richard moving back to Austin. So that's one of the things that Richard announced, and a lot of stuff, again, he didn't tell me specifically, he told the entire group at SodaCon. For those who haven't kept up with Richard and his crazy lifestyle, he got married. For all of them, the best option, just based on where she was at, where he was at, is they moved to New York City. They actually live in New York City right now. He has always maintained a property here in Austin, which always makes the news because people are like, Richard's selling his property. Okay, well, Richard has put his property up at a price that if somebody would buy it, he would probably accept it and come back to Austin and buy a different property. It's something crazy. But because it's such a crazy price, he hasn't had a nibble. So that was always part of the plan, was to keep that property around. If just the right person shows up and wants to pay $45 million or whatever for his crazy property, then great. But he never really expected that to happen. He even told the real estate agent he never really expected that to happen. He told us he never expected that to happen. So the current plan is, as Richard told people, is he's restarting the castle in on his property down at the land. You can actually see it if you've been to Castleton. I had threatened to take my drone down there and fly it over, and maybe I'll do that soon. Because that was also another thing I threatened at one point, was to go and map his property down there and turn that into a pot template. That'll be a lot of work. But anyways, so the plan right now is he's got a couple-year plan. He's got to get Kinga through like this school year and 2 more school years, and then they're shooting for moving back after that, I believe. And that's because Kinga's in a special school. Kinga is Richard's amazing 7-year-old, I think, maybe 6. I think she's 7. But anyways, but she's in a special school there, and they didn't want to pull her out early, and there's obviously a lot of work left to do on the castle here. And when I say castle, it's not far from a castle. I've got some pictures, actually, I can show that I'll pull up here in a minute and show them on the stream. But let's see, what other stuff? So yes, Richard moving back to Austin. Let me pull up the pictures, and I'll do some of that stuff, and we'll get back to a few questions. I gotta figure out the best way to do this. Let's see, I think I've got them on Amazon Photos. Let's see. Oh, these are some fabulous photos here. Let me see if I can capture that. I know, fabulous photos, right? Let's see. So this was from the boat ride. Of course, trying to take night pictures with a camera. Phone camera, always fun. That's why I took a bunch. There's a good one. How about that? Classic. Let's see. Oh, this is some of the fans. We went down to, had them in here in town, and we went down to a place my daughter loves, which is called Ski Shores, which is a really cool hangout here in Austin that not everybody knows about, and it's impossible to get to, but really worth it. But it's right on the water. It's basically you eat on a dock, and there's ducks, there are ducks. Those are obviously swans, and a ton of turtles. There's some giant carp that come up. They're like 3 or 4 feet long. If you throw some food out in the water, they'll come up and eat it. And then this one also was a cool trip because somewhere in here, yeah. So that guy there, let's see if I can get the camera. That guy there is Childish Gambino. Apparently I picked a cool place to eat because he showed up after about 15 minutes and ate a few tables over from us. So that is Donald Glover is his other name. You may also know him as Lando Calrissian from the Solo movie, and Troy from the old days. But yes, Troy from the old days. But hold on, I gotta pull this down and see what's coming up if I go too far. Trying to find the last picture in here so I don't go too far. Okay. Yeah, that's nothing too big. Okay. Let me get back to it. But anyways, these are some photos from it. Again, this was just me snapping pictures, trying to get pictures of... oh, there you can kind of see the giant carp. I know this is super photography here. But yeah, you can see the giant carp. Dog. A little girl fell in the lake while we were there. Oh, this is out on Richard's property. He actually, because the property is up on kind of a hill, and they wanted to have a quick way to get to the water. They drilled a giant hole straight through the earth, and then made a horizontal tunnel to get into it. And this is Richard showing it off. That's what it looks like. It's not very safe. But all the a bunch of the people who got there early that day went down, and we hiked up there and saw it. Mort Richards' property, because of course you got to have a dragon boat and a swan boat. This was just the morning thing where people who got there early, and I think it was the VIP people. I think Skeggy, did I see Skeggy raid me earlier? I think we have a picture of Skeggy coming up here in a headlock thing. Oh, that was me trying to get a picture of a butterfly. Oh, yeah, I did get it. You can see the butterfly right in the middle. Nailed it. And this was Richard putting, I think, Skeggy into the headlock thing. There's some shoes, Curtain Theater. That's what the Curtain Theater looks like for those who couldn't attend. Again, this is kind of Richard lore in case you're wondering what goes on at a SodaCon or where we hold SodaCon stuff. But that's the theater. That's where they also do a lot of the Shakespeare in the Park type stuff here in Austin. The Baron's Men. They went to, I think they went to 2 plays while they were here. And then here's a picture. Some people arrived late, as I recall. They arrived while we were taking pictures. Oh, that's the picture with the extra people. But yeah, this was just the morning. The people who got there a day early, who were there for the morning stuff, VIP stuff. But anyways, that was kind of the short picture tour. I pray someone got better pictures than me, because I got horrible pictures. Let's see. Alright, hold on. Let me kill this thing. Bam. Ooh. Let's see. I got some questions. Hey, Babanzai. Nice to see you there. Can I post my album somewhere? Yes, I can. I will put together an album. I did not take any pictures from the actual SodaCon, like the actual conference. I assumed other people would do that, and I know they video captured. I know Jack is here. Why haven't those videos been put up yet, Jack? Are you guys going to put those up? Alright, let me get back to answering some questions. And also spilling some beans on some things. Okay, well, we're up to like 136 people. Links provided. Links provided where? But let me get to a few things just worth telling you guys about. Hold on. Oh, and I know Marcus is, John Marcus is going to have to go to bed here. So I was waiting until you guys got on here and I was going to sing a song. This one was actually demanded by I Am Arca. So I'll apologize. I'll keep it short. Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. I went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. So many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for your glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight, just keep them alive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight, rising up to the challenge of our rivals. And the last known survivor stalks his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. I'm not sure why he wanted me to sing that, but anyways, I get to some actual questions. Or actually, I'll spill some beans on some things. So some of the stuff people want to know now that I'm in charge of Shroud. what is going to change. So one thing is, that's kind of been the way it is right now, and even though I'm in charge, this is not like a dictatorship. Star is a huge part of the team in terms of contributing ideas and managing stuff, and still doing all the same stuff that he has done for years. And also, not overruling the team, so really the core set of people hasn't changed in a significant way since 2 weeks ago. I mean, it really hasn't changed in months, so. Oh, and thank you very much, Griffler, for the resub, and thank you, Z of Silverdale. But here's one thing that is going to change. There's going to be a bunch of subtle changes that we'll be making. One of which is, I'd already planned this, but after talking to people at the con, it kind of accelerated when I'd planned on doing it. But one is, again, I keep telling people we want more player involvement. We want you guys to be able to create more content. We want you guys to be able to do more stuff. We want more from you guys. Again, we're trying to make this a sandbox. We're trying to expand all the different ways you can play so that, we provide some content that is better quality than episode 1, and this is kind of the short plan for episode 2, is we provide more content that is better quality than episode 1 and give you guys more tools to expand the content on your own. So one of those things that came up from talking to players at SodaCon, again, this was planned, but talking to players, again, accelerated where I'm putting this on the chart. Maybe it will fall this year. Maybe it'll fall into next year. It'll probably inch its way out a little bit of time. But having the concept of and this is not some new thing that no one's ever done before that Shroud is doing. But for a while, we had a partner in Travian, which didn't end in a way that we liked. Just we felt that was a good way to, people needed to step apart, that we didn't think it was positive for both of us. But there were some really amazing people at Travian that we worked at, all the way up and down the whole list of people there. But Andre Rader was one of those guys. And, really all the people we directly interfaced with over there, we loved. It was just the net result was not positive. But anyways, Andre Rader is one of those guys. And for those who did anything with him, he ran a bunch of GM events, and he was running some big story GM events. And that's one of the things people said they really miss. And I've had people harassing me about that for a while, of like, that's something they really wished we could figure out a way to do. Can we hire somebody, get somebody on board to do that stuff? So we're going to go a different route, though, which is I've already broken down GM commands that I think we can safely give out to a handful of players. It won't be everybody, but we're going to start flagging some people as GMs. We'll make you create a new account. I think Catherine Rose likes that idea. But we're going to make you create a new account. This won't be a something you can do, take your character and be flagged as a GM. But we will, and again, exactly how we flag you is still up for debate, but we will have you create a separate account or character. We don't want you doing it on your main character, but you'll be able to do things that you would expect the GM to be able to do. Turn invisible. You'll be able to apply buffs to other people or to yourself. You will be able to summon other players or teleport to other players. You'll be able to fly around the world using the slew command, which you guys have seen what the slew does when you use it in your pots. So you know what that's like. The difference will be that when you hit escape in this version of it, that you will teleport to that spot. And then lastly, you'll be able to summon creatures. So those are kind of the basic things that we can give you guys. All of those, with the exception of summoning a creature, I think I could probably get done in a matter of a week or so. How we deliver it to you is going to be something. Actually, one of the things I talked about that is actually a pretty safe way of handing this out is giving you guys, when somebody wants to run an event, you contact me. If you're one of the people on the list, I can send your alt character basically a GM potion that'll be a no trade potion when you receive it that only they can use, and it'll give you the GM ability for like 24 hours. So again, we're not going to do this with everybody. The people we will start with are some of these people we know have been running events up until now, or people that have been strong community members for a long time that we really trust. The other thing is, we already have a program. It's basically, if you know what Slack is, it's a company chat program, but it's called Mattermost. But we use a bunch of different APIs to hook into it, so we can spit out when something weird goes on. I think I've mentioned this before. When somebody reports foul language or whatever, it goes to our Mattermost. We have a channel just for that. If something feels out of range, the server alerts us on those things. If devs create items, I think I've mentioned this before, like I'll be in game and I'll be creating items and it's like, all right, everybody's going to yell at me. They're going to see my spam. But we're going to have a channel that will be just for the GMs, for players executing GM commands. And again, there's not going to be any way to add items. There's not going to be a way to add loot to the game. The closest thing to, you could probably grief people with it by creating creatures or whatever, applying buffs. You would be able to give some people some crazy buffs so they could kill stuff they couldn't normally. But again, that's why we're going to have a GM channel that we will have on our Mattermost. So anyway, so that is kind of the base feature set we're looking for, is what I just described, like invisibility, teleport, summoning creatures. Oh, setting weather is another one. That was actually earlier when I mentioned setting the weather. That's why I was mentioning that, is that's one of the things you would be able to do, is set the weather for your own event. Brass knuckles, it ended bad. So brass knuckles, I think in UO, the counselor stuff, I mean, I know some of the stories. I've heard a number of the different stories for how crazy things got. I don't think they were as careful about who they picked to be counselors as I'm going to be. I think it was also at a larger scale and not easy to manage and track. I think it's also, like I said, one of the things we will probably do for this is we probably won't flag your character to be permanently GM or counselor or whatever, and instead we'll give you a single-use potion. Like when you want to run an event, we'll give you, one or two single-use potions. It'll be no trades. It'll be stuck to that character, and then when you use it, you can use it at your leisure, but then it'll give you 24 hours or 8 hours or whatever of buff time. So again, trying to be careful about how we do it to make sure. Hey, I owe this guy some stuff. Trying to be careful about it. Where'd my stuff go? Why do I not have a chat window? Come here, dude. Oh, that's right. He can't actually see me. I'm in ghost mode. Whoop. There we go. Take my money. Oh yes, but I know lots of stories from the different people of, even down to the trading services in game for sexual services outside of game. Those are some of my favorite lore stories. I don't think we're gonna get to that point, but let's see. So let me get back to answering some more questions. That's one of the big things that came out of this talk. That's something that's been on my list for a while, is I want to enable you guys to be able to do events like, on par with what Raider did and some of those guys did. And I think that will get you, again, he basically had a limited set of stuff he could do, and that was some of the stuff he could do. But let me get over here and answer some more questions. Let's see. So Arto Masumotra. Can you explain the heritage items? Why do they not have an alternate item? Items that are not account bound, etc. So there's a couple of reasons. One of this is we're trying to crack down on the negativity towards the game. having items that are cash items that are tradable is there's a bunch of different ways that it causes problems. It causes problems for our CS queue in terms of people, as when we have those, people get scammed. That's still going to happen for a while because we're not going and making all old items no trade. But one of the things is also it impacts our bottom line. As the guy who's here to try and figure out ways to better expand the game and expand the team size, that's one of those things that's actually important. Another one is by having them tradable, they have a infinite lifespan. They never wear out. They don't have maintenance for a lot of these things. They survive in the game forever. So they survive from, again, I mentioned the stats before, but the average number of times those things trade hands is usually 3+. So that means we have to charge a lot for the items. So that we can justify, like, we're never going to get any more money out of, that type thing. And again, we've seen that in our items. Once items have been in the game for a while, they sell. We know it doesn't sell enough, but we see them trade in hands. We know all that stuff. But anyway, so part of it is also on the money side of things. So we can keep the price on them lower, but still have it make sense for us is to not have them tradable. This was also, I mentioned this at SodaCon, this is also one of those things, this was the quickest route to get to a place where we thought we could start trying to understand things better, was to go with the heritage stuff, make them completely no trade. The long-term plan will probably be something like premium items can be traded, but you have to pay like 10% or 20% of whatever the original cost was. So they become tradable, but for premium items, we take a rake on them. And again, this is not something that is crazy, unheard of. There are no other games that have premium items that are tradable. There's a couple of them that have sort of ways that are tradable. Like when I've mentioned that before, people are like, yes, there are. In WoW, you can buy the token for a free month subscription that basically is real money premium item that someone can buy for money and hand it off. And we're still going to have that kind of equivalent in that crowns are still going to be tradable. They're still going to be the kind of the corner piece. It's just once you take those crowns and you actually turn them into an item, then it becomes something that belongs to you. Let's see. Cypher 1 Black. Where's the patch to fix the dungeon mesh thing problem? So that is, I've not looked to see if it got updated yet. I poked at it for a while when we need to update that process. I'm sorry it's still broken again. I've had a crazy time, just felt I needed a day or two off. So I did not get that fixed. There's going to be some fixes going in and a patch that is building now. But it's not any of the ones you want. Actually, there's at least one or two of the ones you want. Like the heraldry red outline thing that you guys are seeing. I know that one's in there. I think there's a few other ones. But we're actually running into some problems now because the Deco palette is going live next release for realsies. But part of that required touching 17,000 files is what I had to integrate. It basically involved touching a ton of files to change some data on them. And that's on our asset files, which to you, of course, well, the reality is that means if we want to integrate stuff, now we've got a problem of we've got kind of mixed data. We've already changed this data for that part of it. That's already been pushed over to QA. So now if we want to make a change on our development branch, we have to move it through QA and then we have to move it to live. Well, now that data gets migrated over and it has extra data or has been changed by the other thing, but the actual code that handles those changes has not been migrated to live yet. So some things we're going to have problems with. That is one that may end up being a problem because that is one that has to go with a piece asset, and it's the dungeon piece asset. And that's the thing that actually changes. Basically, any of the prefabs that have assets with them have some new data that go along with them. I'm working on it. I'm having to hand merge a few things, but if I can get it in there, I will get it live. If not, we're 2 weeks from live from the next release, and we will definitely get it in there for next release. And again, I identified the problem and I have a fix for it locally, but we're trying to get the process down, and the problem is just that it wasn't generating the nav mesh properly. Yeah, I'm going to try to keep up with the questions, so I'm going to try and be faster. Let's see. Radiant Woodlander. So does Catnip control the assets of Portalarium, or is Catnip a contractor? So this is like getting into the legal stuff that I'm always supposed to just say, if you have questions on that, email that dude who apparently a few people have said he hasn't responded to them yet. Bailey at vlpc.com. He will respond. I'm sure he's trying to let things settle down and figure out categories of different stuff to respond to. But Catnip controls most, not quite all, of the assets of Portalarium. Everything that was needed to run the game, though, including like Portalarium.com, some other stuff like accounts and social accounts and money stuff. But yes, Catnip does control that. It actually, yeah, and I probably should stop there. Catnip is not a contractor, though. Mike Soda, how many players sub to the game? That's another one of those, we don't really reveal that. It's close to 5K-ish that do the rewards program. Again, not everybody who plays the game does the rewards program. But on the other hand, more people, or a lot of people do 5. There's some of the people who do like 5 or whatever. They've got like 5 different rewards programs. I don't know what the maximum number is. But that is one that I can say. I didn't post stuff on last Friday, because I kind of had something that was written for expecting a more negative response from players, and it's been pretty positive. The other thing is, like, I can listen to you guys, and you guys can be all like, rah, rah, in the forums or whatever, and happy, or at least not sad about it, or, not surprised, or, positive emotion. But at the end of the day, one of the things I try to keep an eye on is what happens on the money side of things. So since the announcement, I think the net total lost people who like cancel their rewards program was like, as in how many people added minus the people who unsubscribed. And I think it was like 7, but we had someone do 5 this morning. But I looked, and it was somebody who basically every month they do 5 and then they cancel 5. But it was sitting around like even dozen in terms of the number of rewards people who dropped. And that's one of those things, again, that I look at as people can be positive and talk, but if, are they canceling rewards programs? And again, we had a bunch of new people add rewards programs, and just a handful who canceled. So very happy. Let's see. Earl Roberts, this is a different one I've got to send to T. Bailey. What is the status of on our seed invest? So that's one only he can answer. Richard has given the answer that he's not supposed to give. That's the honest answer multiple times. You can probably find a video stream of him saying it, but I'm not going to say it. But the short version that I probably can say safely is, if you were in seed invest, you still have an investment. If Catnip Games does well, you guys do well. Again, I think it actually may be more clear in terms of what the status of it is afterwards, because honestly, how many of you seed invest people knew like what you were getting out of it? I mean, it's kind of like any investment. You invest in a company, unless there's a liquidation event, it's hard to say what you're going to get out of it. The thing that he has actually put some clear definitions on things. So let's see. Oh, Lord Bloomy, this is a good question that I probably should have answered early in the stream, but I suck. And I also suck at giving away prizes. I'm gonna do a couple of prizes here. We'll do some big prizes to celebrate all the stuff that's gone on here. But Earl Roberts asked, what is the status? Oh wait, no, that's Lord Bloomy asked, what is the special bonus for the Big Crown package? And I will have to figure that out in just a second. But first, let me go do the raffle thing and give out raffles and put up some bigger, cooler prizes. Hold on. Try not to choke to death on stream. That would at least get some news stories, right? All right, let me pick a winner here. This is for that round Elven Greenhouse. Bam. Entries have stopped. Braunfelt. I wonder if you're a Braunfelt in game. Cyan. Awesome. Green house. Still have that lovely little bug where you see me pop up in the air there for a second. All right, let's get some bigger prizes out there. You guys have been a little generous here, and we got some stuff to celebrate. So I'm going to go straight to the Shogun Castle Wall set, since that is on sale. Let's see. Got that. Oh, it must be pretty heavy. All right, let me put that up. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go ahead and reset. I know some people have left. Shogun Castle Wall set. Bam. All right. So another thing that came up that's going to be different going forwards, I've already started doing, is... and I'm behind on everything. I'm going to assign some of that to Travis here shortly, but like sending out cloaks for Dragon Con, I still haven't done that. Sending out the SinCon stuff, I haven't done that. Now I'm probably behind for SodaCon stuff. But I will get all those out to you guys here by the end of the week. But another thing we're going to be doing. So one of our challenges is, again, it's kind of a weird world we live in, is that the people who play the game love the game. The people who come and try the game, the metrics are actually very good in terms of if you try the game, if you come to play Shroud, you download it, you install it, you try the game, our metrics are actually really good. More than 10% stick and become long-term players. Our challenge has always been finding people to come try the game. The median hours people play on the game, it's crazy in terms of stuff. Like, people don't just play for 5 hours and never come back. Like, if they stick for 5 hours, they stick for 1,000 type stuff. So the challenge has always been the same going forward. And this is one of those things that I'm going to be changing and being far, far more proactive about, which is finding an audience. So one of the things I looked at, and this was from talking to a couple of the other crowdfunded MMO games out there, is we've had a lot of people come through the game who tried the game long ago, who kind of got burned out or whatever. There's a lot of people who are a little toxic or grumpy about stuff in our game. But guess what? If you go to any of the crowdfunded games, and there were like 12 or so big crowdfunded MMOs kind of in a 2-year period, which I'm not even going to try to name them all off now, but I'm sure you guys know a bunch of them. But what we've seen from me talking to those guys, talking to 3 of those other ones, is they all have kind of the same situation. Now, one of the things that's different is we actually shipped, and a lot of those games, of those 12 games, only a couple of them actually even let you play the game to any extent. But, whereas they may have they let some people try stuff out, and they've got, a few thousand hours of tests, and we're closing in on 20 million hours of play time from players. So it's kind of a different situation in that we are the only ones really who ship. There's going to be a couple others who will probably ship in the next year. But the thing that I'm going to be doing with those guys is they have the same situation. They have some people who are really hardcore about the game, super excited about it. Over time, though, they've got some players who turn grumpy on them, who, still hang around the game and get grumpy with them. So kind of my idea is, after talking to a few of these others, to 3 of these other MMOs, crowdfunded MMO style games, the first 3 I talked to have all said, absolutely, yes, that makes total sense. Why are we not doing that type of stuff? But basically, we're going to start cross-promoting each other's games. We're going to do some cross-streaming, which means that I will go to their game, I'll play their game, and stream with them and give them, some constructive feedback type stuff of like, that's cool, but we do this thing. And they're going to do the same thing with ours, so that they can expose their players. Because again, if we have grumpy players sitting in our fan base who, are nothing but grump, we should be sending those guys, they'd be so much better off being in another game. And it's also one of those things that's kind of a confidence thing, that I'm confident enough in Shroud and where it is, and especially where it's going to be over the next 6 months, that I think that will show extremely well compared to other games. And again, we'll get the reality check of, we know other games, some of the other games have much better graphics, much better UI. Some of those things are a little sexy, but in terms of the long-term gameplay and the depth of the game, the skill and just the story and all the other different stuff, I think that we measure up extremely well to any of the other ones, even based on what they're promising versus where they're at now. But anyways, I think it is something that will work. It will help us immensely, and I think it will actually help them as well. I think it's something they want exposure. They want to get themselves out, because kind of, again, what we saw is, it's been weird, is people 3-5 years ago, whenever they started backing stuff, they kind of pick one horse. There's some people who went and backed like every one of them, but most of the people picked one horse, and they've just kind of been supporting it. So anyways, that's kind of the thought, is that there's going to be a lot of that. So just from the first 3 that I've talked to, the number of new users that gets us exposed to is in the 500,000 range. So you can imagine, if I can get us out to like all of those, that's several million people that I can expose the game to, that are very, likely target candidates. Now, of course, there's only going to be a fraction of a percent probably that'll jump ship and come over and try our game. Or maybe, my real hope is, a lot of those games haven't even released a release date yet. So again, come try our game until your game comes out, and then hopefully you can come, like, you'll see things in our game that you like that you can take back to your game. Again, this is not a let's figure out how to cripple and crush the other guys. This is truly a let's get in with the other guys, work with them, and see if we can help them improve their games and increase their exposure and audience size. So anyways, that's the thought. Hold on. Oh, and I'm falling down on the job here. Let's see. Hose, Griffler, Z. Thank you, Z. Thank you, Z. Thank you, Catherine Rose. Thank you, Z. Thank you, Z. Let's see. What other stuff can I tell you guys about? There's going to be some changes that'll come up this next release, that I think will be some stuff that's long overdue. That's one of the things, again, that sometimes we just need to be reminded of things. We know things are wrong, but we forget how important it is to players. And trying to make the creatures, and thank you very much, Antrax. We forget some things like, hey, our creatures kind of, older creatures kind of all are the same. They don't have many new abilities. Even though we've added, we've got a list of like 100 abilities. I think I added some on a stream. I went and put some in for players on stream. They're, going down the list, how many we've accumulated. And every time we've added a new cool creature, it's got some new abilities. But what we never did is we never went back to the old creatures. So, 80%, 90% of the creatures in the game basically will punch you, or they'll firebolt you, or they'll shoot you with a bow. And that is pretty much it. So that's one of the things I'm going to try to do. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it this release, but it's definitely on the short list before the end of the year list, which is get creatures more interesting attacks. We've already built up a large library of attacks, special type attacks, and getting the AI in there is... the AI is already in there, which is basically when they use it. But tuning those guys up, it's really a matter of hours of work, not days or weeks of work. It's really minutes per type category. But anyway, so you can expect that to come. And that also is going to include some other stuff, like making sure, like dragons, all dragons breathe fire. All dragons have fire resist. All dragons have, the same type of stuff, making the dragons a little more interesting as well. So this is one of those things that also I'm going to try to be better about, which may be worse to some people. But there's a lot of things we have not made changes that need to be made due to the fear of retribution. And it's kind of the thing that players get angry about is, yesterday I could kill creature X, today I cannot kill creature X, therefore you suck and you nerfed me. So I'm trying to move... I'm going to continue on being super careful on the nerfs. making sure to be careful about. But there's going to be some creatures that will get tougher because they are tougher. They're going to be tougher to everybody. So just accept that. Again, trying to make them interesting as we move towards episode 2. We talked about doing, this is the episode 1 version of the creatures, and this is the episode 2 version of the creatures, making the episode 2 version interesting and leave the episode 1 alone. But I think that's kind of a bad idea. I'd rather have new players come into the game, make sure that they see interesting stuff before they get to episode 2. So, anyways, that's another one of the things that is going to be different going forward, is I'm going to try to worry a little less about making things you could kill before not killable. Some other stuff. I can go over some ideas that came up during the thing. And I'm doing horrible. I'm not taking notes. Let's see. More player GMs. I'll make a note on that. Rebalance early creatures by adding AI from newer creatures. All right, let me go over some of the other things that came up that are going to be some things we're looking at. If you're wondering, again, I've been mentioning Lua. So I actually have Lua in the engine now, and I'm currently in the process of hooking some stuff up. So my dream is that for R71, I will be able to expose some of the Lua stuff to you. So you'll be able to use a few Lua commands on the console. It may just be to load scripts so you can start playing around with stuff. But again, that's one of those things, anytime I've mentioned it, I'm sure the SodaCon guys were a little more techie on average than the average player. But they continually came up with cool ways that they wanted to use it. They planned on using it, which really made me want to get it out there for you guys quick. So again, I have it in the project. I'm going with for those who pay attention, it's actually a Moon Sharp variant. So it's a slight variant on Lua, but it's like 99% the same. There's just a few things you can't do, like some specific types of arbitrary tables or something like that. But it's a variant on that it was important that we have the code for it, because that's, looking at it, one of the things I worry about is the garbage collection that can come from having that type of scripting language, where you can create a lot of garbage collection yourself. And as players are going to be creating plugins for other people, I'm sure it could be bad, and that these things get distributed and the performance of the game drops, and people start thinking it's us rather than theirs. But by having it in the C# version, it'll be a lot easier for us to track down and fix the garbage collection issues that come up. In short. But yeah, it'll be Lua. But again, very, very slight variant. But if you already bought your books for Lua, as I heard some people had, they'll still be applicable. Let's see, other stuff that came up out of the thing. Let me put that down. R71. Some other thing that came up. Arcane Catalyst is something that, again, players can get 100 of a day, and they can only spend 18 of a day, and they end up with hundreds of them useless, lying around waiting to be spent. So we're going to try to use that in a few more places so you guys can clear out your inventory on those guys. We're looking at a few bundles in the Crown Shop that kind of mimic what we used to have. I don't even know which things had not been expired, but everybody liked the idea that we hadn't done that, and I'm not sure why we did that. We used to have, for those who recall, we had like the bundles where you get like the Obsidian bundle or whatever, the elf bundle, and you get like an elf house, some elf clothing, some elf decos, and it come as a bundle all together. Basically putting the same thing into the Crown store, where you buy, you get the house, you get the clothes, you get the whatever, and you get it a little bit of a discount over buying them separately. Let's see, gold and silver scraps. I'm not going to talk about the plan for that. Beezus talked a little bit about it, and he's working on that now. Let's see. Vegetables. This is a big topic. There are some people who are very concerned about vegetables on merchants. But vegetables on merchants, we talked through. B and I were on a panel together on this, and we kind of talked through, and I mean, we know what happened, which is, for those who don't know, you can grow vegetables. people want some vegetables for cooking and other things, and you can't, there's not actually a market for it because you can always just go buy them off the merchants. So this is one of those things where we added the vegetables to the merchants before gardening was a thing. Then we got gardening in and we forgot to take the vegetables off the merchants. So I gave B the choice of either going and taking them off altogether so that only players have those vegetables and you got to find player vendors, or at the very least jacking up the price by a factor of 10 or something. So what other things would you use vegetables for, Arca? I know. Let's see. Dragon resistances. Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to get back to giving out QA rewards. I'm going to be doing it. Or assigning someone to do it. Another one is mannequins. Right now, you can only have wooden mannequins, and that's one of the things that players brought up that they would really love to have and would be cool, is having mannequins in other stone or other things. So you could have like a marble mannequin was one of the examples they gave, but having it in other types of stuff. So you could have a shiny metal mannequin. Let's see. So that's another one that came up that we talked about some that'll probably happen in fairly short order. Another one, this was one that I'm not sure why we didn't have it, and it's so obvious that again I think we just weren't thinking. We've had for a long time you could have pets on your lot, but of course they have some restrictions and they're not necessarily always there and whatever. But then you could have merchants in your town. You could have NPCs in your town, and those guys are always there. And then I added a while back, you guys may recall that I added some lich spawners that you can place in a town. That's right, you can't place them in a town. You can only place those in dungeons right now. But the tech works as well in a town if you can place them on the pot owner places them. So again, looking at all those things, I sat there and scratched my head on why we didn't have stuff like a town cat spawner, where you could set down a spawner that would spawn cats and have it wander over a large area. Same thing with like deer and with rabbits and with other things. So that's something that'll be coming online. That'll be a pot spawner for animals. So you'll be able to place, again, you can go down and place in your town square. You'll be able to go place 5 or 6 bowls of cat food. And each one of those will be a cat spawner that will wander for a large area. And again, these will wander over a big area. They'll wander to other houses and stuff like that. And they'll always be around, or they'll always be there. Not just when the owner of the lot is there. So. And again, thank you Noob Skybladder, and thank you Z of Silverdale. But anyway, so those will be showing up here soon. I'm not going to guarantee they're out. They're going to be out this next release, but we will get those out. I actually already made one and prototyped it, and it worked fine. Let's see. So one of the things I didn't talk to SodaCon guys about, but I did make notes for myself that I want to talk to players about. That's going to be one of the things we change. Is we've always had kind of a odd funding thing. Again, for those who haven't heard me talk about it, for the longest time we forgot that we were a live game and not a crowd-funded Kickstarter type thing. We kept all of our store online, which is something that almost no other game did. And we didn't move to premium currency. So we moved to premium currency. That makes things more convenient for you guys, easier for us, much quicker for us to add things, a lot less maintenance. But something that we did a while back was, again, we like to have ways that for the players who really just love the game and want to contribute to it, want to help fund the game, we kind of have the idea of like some really high dollar bundles, but those are actually something that can be a little toxic and a turn off to some people. Like if you're just coming to the game, like for instance, right now, if you go to our front page, you can buy, $10 of crowns, episode 2, $100 of crowns, and then Lord of the Isle bundle for $6,099 or whatever. So those things should be, I always want to put them like in an angel category and have some people that we call like angel people, angels who want to help the project, Shroud of the Avatar Angels or something stupid like that. But you guys know who you are, and we absolutely crazy appreciate it. But again, trying to figure out how to make that work without it being something that's toxic. New people come in who don't get it, who don't get that. You don't have to spend $7,000 or whatever. That's for people who want to help the project. But something that also came up was based on the current market, because all lots are tradable. The value of the Lord of the Isle is not as good as it should be. There's some people are kind of on that edge where they've got the money, they want to give it to it, but they want to make sure they're getting their value out of it. And so basically I had two different people pin me down on the value proposition for, Lord of the Isle. They want it. The value proposition is not quite there based on the current situations of the world. And they just want a little more value out of it. So again, anytime we add value to something like that, if we're going to add something like all the people who already did the Lord of the Isle stuff, but probably what I'm going to do is try and increase the items on the Lord of the Isle stuff, probably add a few new unique things. Existing people will get those as well. But then I'm going to try and cap it and only sell 3 or 4 more, and then probably kill it, and so that we can get busy. Because the other thing we want to do is get the dinner going. That's one of those things that comes with the Lord of the Isle stuff, is meeting up for dinners and that type of stuff. So we will figure that out. That could also be something for those who hadn't heard on the SodaCon stuff. This year SodaCon went great. Duke Ezekiel and Laz and the others did a fabulous job managing stuff. But the just because they've done it 5 years in a row where they've managed it. Hey, howdy, Elrond, King of Elves, and thank you very much. But just because they've been doing it for 5 years, they wanted to let somebody else do it. And I don't think this is secret information. I already had 3 or 4 people tell me, so I'm pretty sure it's not secret. But the amazing Winfield is going to be taking over it, and he's going to try to do something a little bit different with it, to draw in a little bigger crowd and do something just, again, a little bit. The amazing Winfield? Yes, not the Winfield you guys know who fishes, but the amazing Winfield. Totally different guy. Just kidding. Same guy. But he's going to be doing some stuff, and I think, again, we'll see where it ends up next year. But he's going to probably be doing a little more Hobloth-ish, if you want to think of it that way, where I think he wants to have most of it at Richard's property and do the stuff there. We'll see how reality works out, but he's already got a bunch of people who are helping him out. I think one of them may be nagging me in chat right now about it. But anyways, he's going to be taking over that stuff. But I was thinking that may be one of those things. We'll see what happens with that. But we may turn the Lord of the Isles dinner into something that we do at Hobloth. It's a special thing that happens at Hobloth. That might be the easiest thing to organize with people. But I've got to talk to Winfield about some of that stuff. And if not, we'll figure it out. We were going to have that at Richard's house, but maybe there's a chance we could have it at my house. Don't tell the wife. But we'll see. But if not, again, Richard's property is an amazing place, and we'll do it. We'll find some place to have it. The other option is maybe Richard can host it in New York. Don't tell his wife. We'll see. We're going to figure out an exact place for it. I just, again, I need to reach out to the, I think 6 people who've done the Lord of the Isles, and then again figure out how to close out and get it down to maybe 8 or 10 people, and then get them off the page so that we don't poison people with that. And then we'll come up with some new type of angel option type stuff for those people who want to continue contributing to the project in a big, meaningful way as we move forward. So anyways, the short version of that is you can look for more value to be added to the Lord of the Isles stuff, and you can also look for it to be limited in terms of we're going to try to wrap it up so we can actually get some of the cooler stuff in there done, which is having dinner with me and Richard and Star and whoever else we get out there. Let's see. Here's a good one. What would Flair say? I'm not going to look. Thank you for the bits, Catherine Rose. And yes, the house is actually going to get done. Travis basically put his head in his hands and said he needed help doing it. Which, again, we've got an amazing team, but I think one of the things we all have trouble with, totally not me. Totally not me. But the amazing team is, one of the things we do is we bite off more than we can chew. I think that was a little bit of the case for Travis on the house, that he got it mostly done but just can't finish it. He doesn't have some of the skills he needs in terms of some art stuff. And so there's two options. One is that either Bob the Builder is going to finish it. We'll get him to contract and finish it, or Damon will make time to finish it. But we're going to get it done one way or another here soon. Here is another idea that I think you guys will like. Yes, Foo Bunny. We need more artists. We are going to actually have a couple of people joining the team shortly that I can't go into too much detail on them. I can probably mention one of them just because I've already met with them and know him really well. Actually, I'll let him announce to the community whenever we flag him up. But anyways, there's going to be a couple of people who've been longtime community members who want to contribute, and the situation is just right that they can. And they're going to be contributing in terms of, we'll see what stuff they hit, but one of them may be, their first task may be to go and rig up, another 20 dungeon room setups, just because that's kind of a tedious, repeatable type thing. And some of those would probably be taking some of the ones that players submitted as well and rigging those up. Because what I'm talking about is taking not the actual geometry, but taking the geometry and then putting the junk on it that we need of all that data to set up the connections and all that jazz. But anyways, we will have at least two new team members joining us here in the not too distant future. Let's see. Oh, let me get to a cool idea that is something that I've been talking with people about, and I forget if it came up. I don't know if it came up at SodaCon. It might have come up at SodaCon. But one of the things that is amazing about our game, pat myself on the back. One of the things that's cool about our game that's really gets people to stick in our game is the decoration system. That's not a big secret. So we've, again, getting people to stick is super important to us, and getting them to stick within the first, 5 hours, as I mentioned, is one of those things we really work at. So having right now you can get a row lot with just a few hours of play. But one of the problems with that is you get your row lot, and new player gets a row lot. Woohoo, he gets a row lot. And he can find a place to put it. Woohoo, I placed my row lot. And then now you have an empty house and you have no decorations. And you don't get to really take part in the part that's fun. You don't get to actually decorate your house. So something we're going to be doing is we're going to be having some of these houses that the ones you get from the quest, the village lot and the row lot, and then also probably some other houses when you buy the house. The house will come pre-decorated with kind of placeholder, no value, low-level crafted type stuff. So rather than now a new player comes up and they have a row house, they place the row house instead of it being, here's the empty house I can go stand in, and what can I do? I can open the door and close the door and turn on a light, turn off a light. Now going forward, it'll actually have some decos in it they'll be able to move around, place, and play around with a little bit. And again, we're not trying to compete with like the Deco Divas or any of your crafters out there making stuff. We're just going to put some really the most basic stuff in there so they can see how it's cool. But anyway, so that's something that we're excited about, that we can actually sell like a pre-decorated or give away, because that's where we plan on doing it, is the free stuff that you get in the quest. So players get into the game, they can get to their house and they can get it decorated and mess around with decorations right away. Blah. Sinuses. Again, I'm trying to avoid bronchitis, so. Oh, and I missed Catherine Rose. Thank you again. And Z of Silverdale, thank you. Let's see. Another one that came up, and this may be something that ties into the long-term possibility of having it so you can trade no-trade items, no-trade premium items, but you just have to pay like 10% crown tax or something on them to sell them to other players. But having player vendors, so the things you guys have, we call the merchants the NPC guys that you can't control. The vendors are the guys that you have. Having the player vendors, you be able to put stuff up for sale for crowns. It's kind of silly right now because you can put up crowns for sale, and you can buy crowns, but you can't put up like a premium item for crowns, or you're one of those super lucky guys and you find like a lot in game or something like that that's tradable, and you can't even put that up for crowns right now. So that's something that is on the short list. Probably Q1, probably not later this year, but again, that's something that players really want, and that also is something that could possibly lead to the other side of things, which is the trading no trade premium items around, and letting you guys do that. And then at that point, if you can do it for crowns and it gets pretty close to a selling it elsewhere type thing, you can actually get your value out of it, mostly turn it into money. Let's see, pearl counts are going to go up. Let's see, snow pavers. NPCs on player lots. So this is one of those, I guess I just never realized we didn't have, that players wanted it. But they wanted to have human NPCs on their lot, kind of like what you put in a pot. And the examples they gave is like that they'd really like to have a bartender. So that's one that'll be coming up soon. Oh, and thank you again, Z of Silverdale. Many thanks. I guess I'm getting 200 bits. That's the rating. That's if I don't get any bits and he doesn't like it. If he likes it, he gives 100. If he really likes it, he gives 200. So thank you very much, Z of Silverdale. And thank you, Treewalk, as well. Let's see. Apparently there's some bugged dungeon traps. I'm going to try to get those fixed. They're visible in adventure mode, and they're not supposed to be. Let's see. I'm going to fix the ferry belt so the camera doesn't shift under the water and make things look ugly. For those who are wondering, the water that we use in mini scenes, we do have like 4 or 5 different waters. The primary water we use in mini scenes does have some underwater distortion, but we don't use there's a cost involved if we use the one where you're in the water and you have the distortion. Having it from above and having the distortion is easier because we can basically, it's planar type thing. But anyways, we do have that ability. We just leave it off because it's a performance hit. In case you're wondering, because this is basically the problem. I guess I should explain that is if you have a fairy belt and I think like maybe a shrink potion, that you shrink down enough so you can get the camera under the water and you can see the ugliness under the water. Fortunately, that's one of those bugs that only hits really advanced players, and they probably just laugh about it and screenshot it. Let's see. I'm going to be making some artifacts for Ulfheim. That's been a very popular level, and some consumables. Just try and get some better rewards in there. That's one that you guys know Sanyo did. Sanio. Sanyo. Just mentioning that because a lot of people are spelling it Sanyo, like Sanyo TVs, Sanyo Electronics. Do they still make Sanyos? I know Samsung crushed them. But yeah, so I'm going to get some better rewards in Ulfheim, and unique rewards that he can give out for that stuff, so you can have and whatever special stuff at the end. I need to finish the Captain Jack hat artifact. And I need to do some work on the Despair spiders, the warp spiders. For those who hadn't heard, what they're supposed to do is the warp spiders, when they fight you, they're supposed to teleport and take you with them and root you. So basically you can imagine you're fighting them and they'll either teleport to you if you're away from them, or they'll teleport you with them and root you wherever, so you basically move you away from the group. We're going to get patterns for the Envy bow, Krampus bow, masks, and a few other handful of things. Let's see. Wizard Smoke is really going to fix the locked glyph, being able to drag it and move it over. Again, we basically cornered him and made him understand it really is important. Garden gnomes. Garden gnomes will be coming. I have no idea what the plan is for them. Again, I usually don't deal with that type of stuff, but garden gnomes will be coming. My guess is, just from what was being chatted about, that you'll be able to craft like a normal version of them, and then there may be a store version of them that will be dyeable. So you'll be able to dye your garden gnome. You can dress as... You don't have to have the red hat and the blue shirt if you don't want to. You can do whatever you want to. Here's one that came up. That this is... I don't think it's going to happen this quarter. It'll at least happen Q1 of next year. If not before then. Sinuses. You'll like this one. So this came up from the talk of one of the concerns. I forget his in-name game. I know his out-of-game name, but I won't say it since people may not know him. Uh-oh. Is he really? And I don't know what they're going to do on the garden gnomes. I know that they said there's going to be a craftable version and non-craftable version. So it may be something like you can craft the small versions and, you know, the big ones are the ones for sale or something like that. Or maybe the big ones come with an animation. I don't know what they're going to do. I just know that they're going to happen because as soon as somebody said that, everybody was like, why don't we have those? Let me get back to... Actually, let me do the raffle. And then I'll tell you the cool feature that's something that you're going to say, oh my god, why didn't you have that before? We totally should have had that long ago. So let me do the raffle first, and then I'll get back to that. So don't go anywhere. I know you're not going anywhere because we're about to do a raffle. All right, you guys all look raffled up. Oh, there's a few people got in. Man, all you guys didn't raffle? John Marcus? Snugs? Skeggy? You're awfully slow. Oh crap, the new bonus for the Crowns pack. Oh man. Let's see. I'm gonna have to come up with some something cooler for you guys in these streams. You know what? Since this is kind of I didn't plan anything out, and I can do what I want. That's not true. I can't really do what I want. I mean, I can, but then Star will be angry with me. Do not anger the star. I'm just going to be boring, but probably what you guys want anyway, so you can figure it out yourself. And do that one. Just give you... It's not quite 20% off, but it's pretty close to 20% off. Oh, thank you very much, Turok64, for the fall. Hey, Turok64, did you know I used to work for Iguana? Are you out there, Turok64? I did not work on Turok 64, though. I did work on some of the other stuff, like NBA Jam and Legends of Wrestling and a few other things over there. And thank you, Tina. That's a name I know well. All right, let's pick a winner here, and then I'll tell you about the cool thing that you've always wanted that you didn't know you wanted. Okay, here we go. Picking a winner. Bam. And... House of Mangar Theater. Rigged. Totally rigged. Hold on. And also, I'm going to be doing getting on Fizzle's stream again here soon. He's got a long list of stuff. I've got a long list of stuff from him for ideas to talk over with him. And also, oh crap, I'm trying to remember who else. There's a couple people who've sent me long lists of ideas that are really good that I just haven't been able to respond to yet. Let's see. He's supposed to be getting some Shogun walls or something. Show enough. Oh, hate that. At least Fizzle has a short name there. Use them, send them out, do what you want. Up to you. And let's see. So that was a pretty cool prize, but I always do the biggest prize last. Now I only have like 20 minutes left here, and I'm going to have to go get Maxine. So I got to figure out something I can do that's cooler than giant wall set. What? Obsidian village home? It looks really cool. Alright, I'm going to do one of those guys. Bam. And I'm going to not wipe it. I'm just going to allow entries. You'll just have to remember that it's not the Shogun wall, whatever. It's actually the Obsidian home thing. Hold on, I'm going to go blow my nose one more time. Oh, use my sinus medicine. Alright, did I tease you guys long enough on this feature you really wished you'd had? So let me tell the story of how it came up. So this is actually something that we need to solve, and if this doesn't solve it as well as we like, we're going to solve it in another way as well. We didn't even realize this was a big problem. Just how a lot of crafters work is, of course, you use bags so that you can quickly like take my bag of crafting crap out, do my crafting, put my bag of crafting crap back, and I don't have to carry it all in my inventory. I'm out there or worry about it getting ransomed or whatever. So the problem is you have like a failure. There's some situations you can get into where you have your bag of crafting crap, you know, with all your goodies in it for crafting, all your materials, and you fail or something, and crap goes from that bag, actually gets put into your main inventory rather than going back into the proper bag. And it is a pain in the butt, of course, because then you get out and you're out there and you got a bunch of extra junk in your inventory that you don't want to throw away necessarily, but you also don't want to, you know, you don't want to have to carry it around. So yes, there's going to be a couple things. One fix will actually be to make it so it pays attention to what bag things came out of, possibly also to mark a bag where your crafting stuff will go to. The quicker thing that I came up with that has a ton of uses, and this would just be one of the many uses and ways that it's helpful, is right now you have your inventory. You have your name, your durability, your weight. Having one more column on this that is basically last time used, touched, added to inventory. So you can imagine if you had something here that was how long it's been in your inventory, or how long since it was added to your inventory. When you go on an adventure, you pick up a ton of crap, you can just click that button and sort by it. You know, like right now you can sort by the, you know, weight and value and durability and stuff, but having one where you can sort like how long ago did I pick this item up, so you can actually see all that stuff and you can see the items that you just got in this adventure. Same thing, you're doing crafting or whatever. It's an easy way to go and see like what stuff changed here recently, so you can see how long, basically get the stuff you actually care about that's recently changed stuff, get that to the top. So that is something that will be coming up soon. That will just be another column that you'll be able to sort on. That's basically how long is how old is object in my inventory. And again, it's mainly so you have a quick way to see what stuff has changed lately. Because when you're on an adventure, it'll show you here's the stuff you picked up on the adventure. You don't have to wonder. And there may be a few things that show up in there that are different, but the only one that is a little bit of trouble that we're trying to figure out how to make it clear is like if you have a stack of things. You already have a stack of 20 of them. You pick up 2 more of them. Does that go to the top of the list? Does that show up where the other 20 were? But anyways, I'm excited about it. As playing myself quite a bit lately, I would really like it. Let's see. I'm looking down the thing. Fireflies, decos will probably be coming soon. Vendors are going to stand longer. It's one of those things that vendors sit down far too quickly. I think that's the short version of what we talked about. I mean, there's a bunch more stuff. That's some of the notes that I made. There's a bunch of stuff in here I can't tell you on things like people telling me I didn't get my box. Oh, now I really got to blow my nose. Stupid sinuses. All right. Let me get back and answer a few more questions off the list. I'll scan ahead a little bit and make sure and get some good ones. Let's see the questions. Brass Knuckles. Chris, is there any plan to keep improving Blood Bay's unique feature of PvP housing, game mechanics, etc.? Yes, and that is something that I will also I mentioned earlier in the stream when I had 40 fewer people on the stream. I talked a bit about the GMs and that there's going to be some people who will be tagged as player GMs. That's going to be somebody who will probably be player tagged as the GM for Blood Bay and basically manage Blood Bay for me. Again, as I've mentioned, that's one of the problems we have as devs, is especially devs who both play the game and talk to players and have lots of ideas, is we always end up biting off more than we can chew. And Blood Bay is one of those ideas. It's a really good idea. There's no way I have time to manage that. Let's see. Atreon, how soon can we expect the summon balance rework? Hoping to get some more work done by the end of the year. Again, the way I've been working will be the way I continue to work, which is I'm trying to nudge things in the right direction, but I'll get some more balanced stuff in there, and I'll get them an active skill as well, similar to Frenzy. Corsevius, when do we get fertilizer? I don't know. That came up just recently again because we were talking about the having giant pumpkins that you can grow the giant pumpkins, and the fertilizer stuff came up again for that. But I honestly don't know. That's one to save for a stream when Beezus is on it. He was there and people got to grill him on stuff, so he at least heard your concerns again directly from people in a place where he couldn't run away. So. Brass Knuckles. This goes into kind of a bigger question of loot sucks, loot needs to improve, loot. That reminds me of another one that came up that I'm going to try to get in. We'll see if I can get it in for this release. I started it, but again, I'm trying to make sure I get the important stuff in, like fixing the elf dungeon stuff, the Rise dungeon nav mesh stuff, and finishing up Tartarus and all that. But having essences, there's some people like they have a bunch of essences, they don't want to craft any more junk, they've got as much as they want to, they'd like to have other options for things to do with it. So there's going to be some potions come up that will be poison potions that will involve essence of whatever, so you can take your elf essences and craft them into a poison that does significantly more damage against elves. Same thing, I'm going to look into ways that I can do it for magic as well, that you'll be able to get potions that can be used on elves. or whatever, dragons, whatever. And that's also the category is going to be tuned down on that, like the Lich Essence or whatever it is. It's going to be Undead Essence. Elves will be all elves. Kobold, all kobolds. I'm going to wrap up a few more of those into those things. But again, got to blow my nose again. Oh, and the person's here for me to sign. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Yes, mojito. That's one of those things with the Italian greyhounds. Is they weigh 10 pounds, but they bark like a 20-pound dog. I know that's still not that scary, but they do have a bigger bark than their size would imply. And that's because they have like huge lung capacity. I'm allergic to streaming, apparently. Let's see, what was I talking about? Let's see, balance rework. Yeah, so the essence stuff. But then there's also going to be, I have not finished up. That's, again, why I'm trying not to bite off too many new things right now. But getting the Tier 5, Tier 6 loot on dungeon stuff. I'm probably going to scatter in some of the stuff I'm making for Tartarus. I'm just going to try to make another batch of a bunch of artifacts and get those guys in and get those guys as drops so I can add some unique stuff for those, because I really do want to have some unique dungeon stuff showing up in there. Oh, as I mentioned, that is actually something I plan on. One of the people who's going to be starting with us soon is having them work on the dungeon stuff, so that would be great. I would love to have someone dedicated to doing nothing but adding new dungeon rooms and new dungeon items. Brass Knuckles, when we get more peeps. Again, I'm going to start doing some more ads again. The ads right now we've been running, I know this sounds laughably small, but I have been spending the new people that are coming into the game right now, which again is still a pretty decent little trickle, but only keeping up with the rate at which players leave the game. It's a little bit more than that, but that is $10 a day. Again, just to keep the pipes warmed, we will be moving that up, adding at least 1 0 to it. Hopefully, again, as we move forward here a little bit, we'll see how things go, but hopefully adding another 0 to it, which would be fabulous. The bigger thing that's going to be happening to get people into the game, again, when I did that push a while back on sending out emails to people and getting people to come back into the game, that was me sending emails to roughly 100,000 potential users once you pull out all the spam and crap. And that resulted in a pretty good surge. As I mentioned, the working with the other crowdfunded MMO games out there, I hope to get at least 10 times that much. More like 20 times is really what I'd love. And again, that will be coming soon. I'm actually talking to 3 of those right now. That will happen. One of them said they can't start looking into it until next month, but hoping to get that going quick. But also, you guys should be aware that you will be exposed to other MMOs out there, other similar type crowdfunded games. So, you know we're the best. Let's see. Brass Knuckles. Man, Brass Knuckles, you're asking a lot of questions. Ultima Online. It was cool having a house because you could insta-log out if you're in your own house. It's great if you have multiple chairs or characters. You could recall home, log out, new tune, whatever, without the delay. Can we get something like that in this game? You can always do the instant log out where you just stay in game. I know that's not something PvPers like, but yeah, that's one of the things we talked about, if making the killing that logout timer for people unless there's actually a risk. Like if you weren't in an adventure zone, let you log out instantly. But no, that's a good one. I'll add that to my list. List of cool ideas to Jira. Let's see. Mia Sway, as a mage, there are a lot of things, of high-end things, I'm forced to fight in a fighter spec. And that's one of those that is, this is a tough one. Because this is something that's true in terms of, there's some things out there, like if you're fighting a red dragon and you're a fire mage, figure it out, fight them some other way. I know there's some things out there that are really resistant, like obsidian golems are probably the most resistant thing in the game. They're just resistant across the board. Oh, and I'm way behind there. I think I thanked Catherine Rose, but I can never thank her enough. Same with Z of Silverdale and Liz. Nice to see you, Liz. And Anjuli Garrett. Thank you very much for the follow. But yeah, so this is one of those tough ones. Is when you get into the higher specs, we try to make sure you can solo play in the game, but we try not to promise you can solo kill anything in the game with exactly your build. And that is one of those things you can be flexible. Most people can be flexible. But it's also, I'm not afraid of making things so, if you're a fire mage, you got to change your strategy. I think one of the areas that is kind of broken, that this may be what you're talking about, is if you are a death mage, you undead in the game are incredibly problematic, and they make up like a third of the creatures in the game. So that's one that we've talked about, having some other options, some other ways you could do some stuff, that you could play as a death mage but still be against undead. So that's one of those where it's such a large category. Undead make up such a big chunk of the game. Hey, bud. Why are you sitting under my table? So that's one we're looking at. But again, it's as we get into the high-end stuff, I'm okay with making people either group, if they're really a specialist, then they know they're a specialist, and there's a reason they're a specialist, and it's, they probably are very powerful at fighting most things, but not that one thing. So, but again, that's one of those that does force some grouping, or at least thinking about grouping or being flexible. With the exception, of course, of death magic, because again, death magic, I think mechanical things are also pretty darn resistant to death magic. So, now you're talking like, a third to a half the creatures in the game need to be improved. Let's see. I'm jumping down. So there is going to be more work on the PvP stuff. I see some people asking about PvPQ. That is crucial, I agree, to PvPers and overall happiness stuff. Hold on, the wife's making sure I signed for the package. Yes, I signed for the package. Synergy Blaze is a Bard class likely to be in-game prior to Episode 2. This is one I keep teasing people with. It's no secret I love Bards. That's one of the things we've talked about, and I've talked to a number of people about. I played UO a ton. I also played EverQuest a ton. And then there's some other games that have some Bard classes. And, of course, I grew up on playing D&D and all those things. I love Bard classes. But that is actually one of the ones I keep teasing for Episode 2, is that there's going to be a Bard skill tree. So we will see if I can find time to make that. But I was shooting for that type of all the skill stuff. I'm probably going to spend at least one release, maybe 2 releases, doing nothing but new skills. Once I get caught up on putting out all the fires I started, by overextending myself on dungeons, loot, Tartarus. Oh, and also an insane amount of business stuff going on for the news that you guys heard more recently. Twofold Silence. What skull levels will new Episode 2 story map start at? Anyone who can get to Episode 2 can get to Episode 1. So there's not much reason in having low tier stuff. So Episode 2 will probably have some medium tier stuff, just because there's going to be some story stuff, and we don't want to say, hey, you can't play the story unless you're level 100. But it'll probably be like, there'll be some like tier 5 stuff. More likely what's going to happen is in episode 2, again, we're looking at, less than a tenth the number of maps. Some of the numbers we've teased were, a dozen total really good adventure zones, and, possibly as few as 3 major cities that are NPC cities, and then the rest of the cities be player-owned towns, make up the vast majority and cram a lot more content into them. But what that means is, again, many of the scenes in episode 2 will be closer to like a Blood Bay size rather than the size of many of the adventure scenes we have right now. So what that means is you could have scenes where you could go in and, chunks of it would be tier 5 that are story-based, but don't wander too far off the track because, it could get into tier 10, tier 12 type stuff further on. But again, that's going to be part of the making the new maps. We've already got a lot of the tech in there, so we can handle the big scenes we have for a while now. But yes, probably tier 5 will be the lowest type stuff. So like for level 50 plus kind of is the loose target. Apple Rust. I'm going to do the cloaks. I promised Star I would do them before the end of the week. I owe you guys, I owe Syndicon guys out there, and Uncle Nick Papadupolo, thank you very much for the follow. Your name gets cut out on the little thing on screen. And thank you, Liz Kimber, for resubscribing. Thank you, Liz. And hoping your life has calmed down a little bit now, Liz. I know things were crazy there for you for a little while. But yes, Apple Rust, I'm going to try to do better about that. That's another thing. I mentioned that there's going to be a couple people coming online that will be able to help me with some things. That's the type of stuff that they could also help. I'm trying to offload the list, but the problem is, hey, guess what? List has a lot of crap of his own to do. He's still trying to get those, the dungeon, is it Gothic dungeon set? He's got like a giant Gothic dungeon set that he's been trying to get out for a while now. So he's trying to get that out, expand on his own dungeon. Again, he's going to be handing off the giant house for the Lord of the Isle. And there'll be some much smaller versions of that that'll come out for other, like for Village a lot. That'll be in that style, though. Let's see. Mia Sway, another question. Any plans on making Sieges worth it again? So Sieges, I think, are worth it. They're not spectacular. If you were here for the start of the stream, that's one of the things I mentioned is the, what are those things called? The Arcane Catalyst. Those are going to be used in more things going forward. So that'll be something that'll make them useful as, for other uses other than just the quest turn and stuff. That'll make them a little more useful as well. Legion of Myth, what are some of the ways you plan to improve loot going ahead? Again, I've talked about a few of them, but just some very simple stuff of making essences useful for more things, adding some more essence types so everything in the game will have some essence type. You can use it for other stuff, the Arcane Catalyst. The big thing, though, is, again, I got to get to the dungeon stuff. Those are the specific places I know I need to hit. The kind of the general stuff, though, is continuing on some of the things we're doing. The biggest thing that's probably going to be coming up that'll be more interesting loot for you guys is the continuing to have, and again, I keep saying this, but B is going to make time for it soon. I think he's getting pretty close caught up, is having more mossy handles for those who have paid attention to the talks before. And that, I'm not specifically talking about mossy handles. I'm talking about having more in-game drop stuff that is then used for crafting. Again, I've done this with some of the artifact stuff. If anybody's done like a warlock chain or something like that, or one of the staves or those type things, there's a belt that's craftable. But again, trying to get some more of those multi-piece parts in there is, I'm going to do that on the artifact side. B is going to do it on the actual crafting stuff to get some more generic big boost type stuff in there, like mossy handles. Let's see. In fact, some of the stuff he had, which this may result in Elrond taking his 100 bits back or something, but there's going to be enough new stuff coming out for crafting and stuff that'll drop in game for crafting going towards episode 2, that a lot of the episode 1 crafted stuff will slowly become outdated because the new stuff will be slightly better. And as we know, things only have to be slightly better before you guys consider them as absolutely, completely, totally essential. Mia Sway. This is one that's actually important to me, and I guess I need to take care of this one too. Are you aware that you're almost 3 weeks behind on Friday stream prizes? That surprises me because we have a spreadsheet when the prize bot does the thing, it adds the spreadsheet and it puts a table in there. And then we go and we mark done. Somebody marked all but the last week as done on the spreadsheet. So I'm going to have to go look and see what happened. I'm going to guess that was maybe an accident. That they just marked more than they intended to. But I will find out I'll get to the bottom of that and get you guys prizes out on that stuff. Because no, I did not realize that. But I'd had people saying that I didn't get the prizes. And I was thought like, well, they just haven't checked their rewards or whatever. But no, that sounds like we're probably off. And those were marked as done. I'll go redeliver them. But I just got to figure out how far back that goes. I'm sure that was Undone doing me a favor. And maybe he just messed up. Maybe he didn't. He may be listening here. You're awesome, Undone. Totally not saying anything bad about you. You're awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I will look into that and I will get those. I'm going to try to get all that crap. I may be just what I do tomorrow is just say, screw it, I'm not doing any other work, and I just try and get all that stuff done myself and then come up with ways I can hand it off. Atos, this is from Sagewise. Apple Rust. Oh, Apple Rust has one that's quick. When will the rest of the artifacts be changed to the new format? Before the end of the year. And all artifacts going forward obviously will be in the new format. Atos, besides adding the ability to grow and harvest catnip in the future, can we also have coffee beans and tobacco? Imagine coffee and tobacco for the pipe. Thanks, Sage. Buddy, what are you doing down there? Yes, and that's one of the things that came up is we need cats in the game, and tigers and lions and other big cats, because, well, one, you guys will always want more pet types. You want a kitty type, but also I need to get catnip in there so you can use it as a buff for them. Oh, that could be what I put in the cats. That's how you attract cats, is you plant catnip. For the pot deco cats, that is. Let's see. Radian asks how to lure new players to the game going forward. I mentioned some of that. There's going to be some more stuff going on. Again, that's one of those things I've vaguely mentioned is that we can now that the deal is done and everything. Catnip Games actually owns Shroud. It makes it a lot easier to attract business partners who want to do things like these cross promotion, those type things. So you can look forward to again more of that type stuff. And there's a lot of that talk going on right now, which I'm sure will not consume any of my time. Let's see. Mia Sway, how do I turn on the light in my house and have them stay on? I thought Lord Subtleton got that done. Maybe he just did doors? Maybe? I'll investigate. He may have just done doors. If he did, then we've got a pattern to follow that we can do it. Can pot owners get pot-specific fish? It would be colored fish that is already in game, like a black sailfish or a green tiger shark. Oh, that's a neat idea. Zeev Silverdale, I would really love to see mob spawners for events in towns. By mobs, I mean like liches. The liches I played with one day, or even more control over dungeon if town is not possible. So that is one. Well, first, you sold my lich spawners to Tazar? Shame, Z, shame. I'll forgive you. You gave me a bunch of bits today. But apparently they work and were used extensively for griefing. But anyways, the plan for that is actually to have the events is something that I've talked about, again, earlier in the stream, is there's going to be some GMs, commands that will be coming in, and we'll have a way that we can tag you guys short-term or long-term for those things so that you can summon your own stuff for those. So that's the plan that will take care of that for the event spawners. Again, there's going to be some mob spawners that'll come into town that you'll be able to use in towns. I just expanded that tech that's used in the dungeons, so I can use that same type stuff in towns. And that reminds me, I need to turn the lich statues so you can't spawn those in towns. But anyways, yeah, there's going to be like deer and stuff will be what you can spawn in towns. Non-violent stuff. Arca Imp Strike. Y'all still planning to put in some sort of discoverable puzzle in each of the new scenes for episode 2? Yes, I love that idea. I love the puzzle stuff. We have not identified the puzzles. We do have a lot more mechanics. If you look back to what we had, I mention this all the time in terms of building up our tool set. Oh, and it's getting real close to when I have to log off so I can go do some Maxine stuff. As in, get her from the bus stop so Child Protective Services doesn't come and take her away from me. When I say stuff, I'm not talking about swimming or something. It's too cold to swim. We found that out yesterday. But yes, our tool set that we had at the start of episode 1 was really small. Now that we're getting closer to the end of episode 1, we're really talking about moving more into episode 2 stuff and adding a bunch of episode 2 content, bringing the content online by the end of the year, and bringing on some content for it over the next, probably not this month, but definitely by like January timeframe, having some content available for it. We've got a much bigger tool set that we're going to be building these maps with. So any of the cool features you've seen in other scenes, we've kind of got those down to a pattern now. We've got them debugged. It's not a matter of designers asking for, can you add a feature XYZ? We've got those features now, and we will be building those. So there's a lot more puzzle stuff that'll go in. Again, I would put, crap, what's Sanyo's scene called? You know that scene, that new scene. That one. That Sanyo did the cleanup work on. So it'll be closer to that, will be kind of the target for the minimum for our scenes going forward. Let's see. I'm going to take one more question here, and then I'm going to give out... I'm just going to go ahead and give out the last thing. Oh, there's one here that I guess I can answer real quick. Anikitos Monomaxos. Does the new change of company change anything on future plans too? Not really. I mean, they're still planning on doing episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, episode 5. We'll probably change up again, not because of the company change, but just because we've learned a lot about making this game what you guys want, talked to you guys a lot, and kind of evolved our beliefs. We had some plans for episode 2, 3, 4, 5 that we, like Richard has pitched from day one of like he's got it all planned out, and he does have some rough outlines all the way through episode 5. I think a lot of that stuff will probably change over time as we tune things to match what we know now versus what we knew when Richard first mentioned them. So some things will change, but it's not really because of the company change. Still planning on putting stuff out there. Again, my dream is we get more stuff, we lower more stuff at the price in store, we get more players in the game. Through more collaboration, we get more player and interactive stuff. We're going to have the player creatable NPC dialogue coming out hopefully in the next 3 months. More stuff that you guys can do in terms of like Lua. Again, I have that in engine now. I'm now working on hooking up commands to it and getting it so you can load and unload stuff and making all that stuff work magically. Just lots of different player stuff, but there's not going to be that much of a change. There's a little change in direction that we made, but we really kind of made that months ago in terms of trying to focus on episode 2 is not about we're going to create a content equal to episode 1. And instead what we're working on is creating small, more polished, but fewer, bigger. When I say small, I mean small number count. Fewer, bigger, more polished scenes. Have the story be more compact in terms of travel. That's honestly why we had a lot of NPCs in episode 1, or a lot of NPC towns in episode 1, is because we had to have it so you can do one thing here and then go to the storyline, go to do one thing over there, and then do the storyline, go one thing over there. And those really could have been if we had planned those bigger or better and the towns had been larger, more going on in them, then we could have fit all those into a far fewer number of towns and made the towns more meaningful. and I think Star mentioned it in the SodaCon stuff, is the NPC towns will probably have either no player housing or a small amount of player housing that's kind of isolated, because that's one of the things too, is by having every NPC town have a bunch of players in it, that's players and crazy deco and crazy houses and crazy number of lights and crazy NPCs and crazy pets all over the place, ends up being what causes many of the performance problems that we have in the game that are very difficult to completely solve. And we want to make sure that the storyline, when you're going through that, if you're on a medium machine, that you're running 60 frames a second most of the time, and that just isn't really possible even on a medium machine in a player-owned town where you guys have so much control, enough rope to, as they say, enough rope to hang yourself sometimes. But we let you guys control that, and again, as a pod, it's up to the governor to do what he wants to with it. But again, that was a long answer for is direction going to change? The answer is not because the company changed. It will be changing because we learn more, and we're trying to not repeat mistakes we made the first time around. All right, I got through a lot of questions today. You guys asked a lot more than I got through, but let's see. Apple Russ asked, will there be another seed invest opportunity in the future? Not that I'm planning on. Again, that was part of what we're trying to get away with, or get away from. And it's not that we're abandoning seed invest. We basically, again, you have to talk to Todd Bailey. The seed invest stuff, all the guys who invest in that, you're still investors in the company. It's just the way that we have it set up now, it'll be way less paperwork for us if we do that. Again, that was part of the problem, is we were involving CPAs and lawyers and like all these other people, CFOs and things that we didn't really need to make a game, but we needed to run that crap, and that was a huge burden on finances. And we would much rather be able to spend that money that I was giving to a lawyer for 10 hours a month to pay for an entire QA department. So again, let me stop answering questions, because I could be here all day doing that stuff. Let me do this last drawing. I hope you have all raffled up. Looks like 160 of you or so have, so awesome. Let's see. I am going to do the winner. You guys all better raffle up. I'll give you like another 30 seconds. And again, guys, thank you so much for support of the game. And like I said, I had intended on putting out a kind of a State of the Union last Friday, but I kind of wrote it ahead. I did write it ahead of time, and I guess in my mind when I was thinking of it, thinking how things would go, I thought things would go a lot worse and it'd be a lot more poorly received. And again, the fans were actually pretty darn positive, and a lot of people actually yes, finally. So that is awesome. But anyways, the State of the Union I had was kind of written towards a more negative response from people, so to speak. So anyways, I went back and I rewrote it, and I'm going to release it this Friday, and maybe we can talk a little bit about it at the stream, but I think we will probably talk about that stuff a little bit while the lava fishing is going on, because the lava fishing tournament will be slow. So show up and I will definitely be talking about that stuff. Hey, there's a new name. I don't think I've seen that name. Too Cold to Crack. But let's do the drawing, and I gotta go get a little baby. She's not a baby. She's an amazing 5-year-old who writes me incredible notes. I got to show you a note here while I wait for that. Wait for the last couple people in there. And thank you, Eric Rules, and thank you, Liz Kimber. Oh, what did Liz tell me? Liz probably told me something. Heritage stuff available to place on pot deco, please, like Flaming Dragon. Oh, if they're not... we just had that talk about, why do we keep flagging stuff as lot only instead of pot? You should be able to place it. Hold on, I got to find the note. Again, my amazing 5-year-old. I'm just showing this note because my wife hates it, but her thing now is she's writing. And this is, of course, in kindergarten. They're supposed to learn their alphabet and stuff like that and learn the letter sounds. But this is what my 5... Oh, come on. All right, let's see if I can get that up there. Oh, there you go. Hold on. You get it? That's the type of stuff she's doing. Is, I love you, Dad. You are my favorite person. She misspelled a few things in there, but I just think it's funny because she wrote that and told my mom to take a picture and send it to me. or told her mom to take a picture and send it to my wife. So. All right, let's do the raffle. You guys ready? Here we go. Botox. Congratulations, sir. I am sending you an obsidian thing. And now is the time where we go and we raid somebody else. Botox looks like a name. Hopefully that's the correct one. Obsidian Village. Bam. All right, Botox, you have been sent your thing. Guys, again, thank you so much. I say that every stream, but and we've been saying that for 6 years now. But even more so now, again, I was not expecting the level of positivity with the news. I did not know how you guys would, take that news. But almost everybody's been extremely positive. There's a few people who are concerned, I understand. But again, you guys have been amazing. That's one of those things, like I said, I've heard rumors that there's some forum stuff in like Reddit, and I'm sure on like some other websites where massive negative speculation, all that stuff goes on. But that was one of those things. If you remember, there's a famous speech that was given. Let me see if I can go find it. I printed out a screenshot from it. Hold on, there it is. That's the one. This is one of those things at NCSoft. One of the things we had up on the walls, we had this speech up there. This was Theodore Roosevelt gave to I think it was in France. They gave it, but it's the Man in the Arena speech. But that's one of those things like I try to take to heart and try to remember, and I guess you guys should too, is we will continue to do everything we can to make the game better and listen to you, even more so going forward, as I try to get more and more player involvement. And when I hear stuff about like Reddit or negativity in places out there, just try to remember that one. It's very appropriate for MMO people to keep that in mind. But again, it's not that I do not listen to critics. I absolutely do listen to critics. And I gotta run, guys. So let me find someone to raid, and I will babble some more later. And I'm not even gonna think about it. I'm raiding the first person I see there. Oh, there's somebody new. Raid BJ Weiler. You're first. And I gotta go, guys. Oh, come on. Raid now. Come on. Let me check my bus. Oh, there's my timer going off. Ah! Again, guys, thank you so much. I will continue to listen to your feedback and go over those questions that you just sent me. I think I got quite a few answered, and we will answer some more on Friday, even though we're going to be doing fishing stuff. You guys know we always answer stuff. But for now, let's go raid this new guy that I don't think I've seen before. Let's see. I would go raid Fizzle because I see him there, but he just got it. He just won a prize. So, guys, I will see you next time. I will be on Friday if I'm not on tomorrow. Thank you for all the support, and see you in a couple days.